Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a spider quietly appears in your home, spinning its web in a forgotten corner, and you feel a strange curiosity about it? Some people immediately think it's just another insect to remove, but in Islam, even this small creature carries a deep and powerful reminder. Many scholars say that when a spider appears in your home, it can symbolize messages from Allah, signs that encourage reflection, cleanliness, and faith. And there is a beautiful and miraculous story from the life of Prophet Muhammad that forever connects this humble creature with divine protection and mercy. A spider is among the most fascinating creations of Allah. Though tiny, it is full of wisdom and mystery. The Prophet taught us to treat all living things with kindness and mercy, even the smallest ones that people often overlook. There are narrations that say if you find a spider web in your home, you should remove the web to maintain cleanliness, but do not harm the spider itself. This is because Islam values compassion and balance. Everything Allah has created, no matter how small, serves a purpose in the world. When you look at a spider's web, you often see it in the corners of your home, the quiet places people rarely visit, maybe the top of a cupboard or behind old furniture. These corners gather dust and forgotten things. Spiritually, they can represent parts of our lives we've neglected, our prayers, our remembrance of Allah, our gratitude. Cleaning those corners is more than a household chore. It's an act of renewing faith and inviting blessings back into the home. But before we explore what a spider's presence might mean for us, let's remember one of the most miraculous events in Islamic history. An event where Allah used this very creature to protect His beloved Prophet. More than 1400 years ago, when the Prophet Muhammad was spreading the message of Islam in Makkah, he and his followers faced severe persecution. The disbelievers of Quraysh tried everything to stop him: insults, threats, and even violence. Life became so difficult that the Prophet advised his followers to migrate to Medina, where they would find safety and freedom to practice their faith. However, he himself stayed behind for some time, continuing to call people to Allah's message. The Quraysh became furious as more people embraced Islam. They could not bear to see their influence fade, so they plotted to kill the Prophet. They planned to surround his house at night and attack him at dawn. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, revealed this plot to His messenger. The Prophet instructed his cousin Hazrat Ali radiyallahu anhu to sleep in his bed that night, so the enemies would believe he was still there. Quietly, under the cover of darkness, the Prophet Muhammad left Makkah with his loyal companion, Hazrat Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, beginning the blessed journey of Hijrah to Medina. As they traveled, they took refuge in a small cave known as Thawr to hide from their pursuers. The Quraysh, realizing that the Prophet had escaped, began a furious chase. They searched every valley and mountain, determined to find him. Inside the cave, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu grew worried, fearing that if the enemies looked inside, they would surely find them. But the Prophet comforted him with the words that Allah later preserved in the Qur'an. Do not grieve. Indeed, Allah is with us. Surah At-Tawbah 9:40. At that moment, Allah's protection came in a miraculous way. As the Prophet and Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu sat quietly inside, a spider began to weave its web across the entrance of the cave. 2 pigeons also arrived and built a nest right beside it. When the Quraysh reached the cave, they saw the web perfectly intact and the pigeons sitting undisturbed. They assumed no one could have entered, for the fragile web would have been broken and the birds scared away. Convinced, they turned back. That delicate web, which could be destroyed by a touch, became a shield stronger than steel because Allah had willed it so. Through this tiny creature, Allah protected His messenger and showed the world that His power is limitless and His plan perfect. This story is not just history, it is a lesson in faith. It shows that Allah's help can come from where we least expect it. A spider, one of the smallest creatures, became a soldier of Allah. It reminds us that nothing is insignificant in His creation. Every living being, every element of nature glorifies Him in its own way. That's why the Prophet discouraged us from killing harmless spiders. Cleaning the web is fine, it maintains purity, but the spider itself should not be harmed. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu once said that spider webs in the corners of a home symbolize anxiety and mental unease. He encouraged Muslims to remove them not just for cleanliness, but to clear away energy of neglect and sadness. Some scholars even believe that the presence of spider webs in certain parts of a home carries symbolic meanings. For example, if webs form in the prayer area, it may be a reminder that prayers have been neglected and faith needs renewal. If they appear in the kitchen, it may signal health issues or disorganization in daily life. If they appear in the bedroom, they may represent tension or lack of harmony in a marriage. And if webs are found in storage areas, it could mean holding on to things that no longer serve you, symbolizing stagnation in both spiritual and material life. These interpretations are not strict religious laws, but reflections meant to inspire self-awareness. The message is the same: keep your home clean and your heart open. Cleanliness in Islam is more than physical tidiness. It's a reflection of spiritual order. When we keep our homes pure, we make them places where angels feel welcome and mercy descends. Now, let us reflect on what the Qur'an says about spiders. In Surah Al Ankabut, which literally means the spider, Allah gives a beautiful parable. The likeness of those who take protectors other than Allah is that of the spider who builds a house, but indeed, the weakest of houses is the house of the spider, if they only knew. 29:41. This verse carries deep wisdom. The spider's web looks complex and strong, but it is fragile and breaks easily. Similarly, when people place their trust in anyone or anything other than Allah, whether it be wealth, power, or human relationships, their foundation becomes weak. No matter how secure it appears, it can collapse at any time. Allah's message here is simple yet profound. Only the one who puts full trust in Allah will stand firm through life's storms. Just like a spider's web cannot withstand the slightest wind, a person's life without faith cannot withstand hardship. In a world where people are increasingly attached to material success, this verse serves as a powerful reminder that our true home and strength lie only in Allah. Even science reveals fascinating things about spiders. When a female spider gives birth, she sometimes kills the male and later becomes prey to her own offspring. This strange cycle reflects how fragile worldly life can be, filled with conflict, greed, and selfishness. The spider's behavior becomes a symbol of how destructive it can be when compassion and faith are missing. Without Allah's guidance, families, relationships, and communities can collapse just like a web torn apart by its own maker. The Qur'an also uses small creatures to teach immense lessons. Allah mentions the ant, the bee, the mosquito, and even the spider. Every one of them carries wisdom for those who reflect. For example, it was a mosquito that brought down the arrogant tyrant Nimrod, who claimed to be a god. And when Abraham marched with an army of elephants to destroy the Kaaba, Allah sent tiny birds carrying pebbles to defeat them. Through these examples, Allah shows that His power is not limited by size or strength. Even the smallest of His creations can change the course of history when commanded by Him. It's amazing to think that the silk of a spider is 5 times stronger than steel of the same thickness, yet Allah calls its home the weakest. This tells us that true strength is not in physical matter. It is in faith. Today, many families and societies appear strong outwardly, yet spiritually they are fragile. The pressures of materialism, social media, and loss of values have weakened the foundation of faith. Just like a spider's web, a small blow can tear it apart. But if we rebuild our lives around the Qur'an and the Sunnah, our foundation will stand firm even in the hardest storms. The story of the spider also teaches us humility and reliance. Sometimes the help we seek from people or worldly means can disappoint us. But when we turn to Allah with sincerity, He can make even the smallest thing a source of great protection. The spider's web is a reminder that strength doesn't come from what you see. It comes from who controls it. A web in the hand of a spider is weak, but in the plan of Allah, it became a miracle. So, what can we learn from this? First, trust in Allah's wisdom, even when you cannot see the path ahead. Second, maintain cleanliness and purity in your home, both physical and spiritual. Remove not only dust and webs, but also habits that invite negativity, music, gossip, or heedlessness of prayer. Third, Respect every creature that causes no harm. The mercy you show reflects your faith. Fourth, reflect on what webs you have built in your own life. Are they made of faith and sincerity, or of worldly desires? And finally, remember that faith must be renewed daily, just as a web must be cleaned again and again to remain pure. Whenever you see a spider spinning its web, pause for a moment. Think of the cave of Thawr. Think of how Allah used the smallest creature to protect His most beloved prophet. Think of how something so delicate became a shield that no sword could break. That spider was not just an insect, it was a sign, a symbol of divine planning and protection. If Allah can use a spider to guard His messenger, He can use anything to guard you when your heart is sincere. The spider's story reminds us that even the simplest details of life are filled with Allah's signs. Every corner of your home, every sound of nature, every creature that crosses your path can be a message from the Most Merciful if your heart is open. So the next time you clean your home, say Bismillah. When you see a spider, remember the story that connects it to faith. Let it remind you that Allah's protection is near, that His power surrounds you, and that no harm can reach you except by His will. May Allah make our homes pure, peaceful, and full of barakah. May He remove the webs of sorrow, anxiety, and heedlessness from our lives, and fill our hearts with light, patience, and tawakkul. Let us live with awareness, treat all of creation with kindness, and trust that every sign, even the smallest one, carries wisdom from our Creator. If you found this reminder meaningful, take a moment to like this video so more people can learn from it. Subscribe to Islamic Legacy TV for more inspiring stories, hadith reflections, and lessons that strengthen faith. Share this message with someone who needs to be reminded that Allah's mercy can appear in the simplest forms. Until next time, may peace and blessings be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.